Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Irish Zone. This is Noel Zone here, speaking live from Dublin, and it is local and European election D-Day. I've been already out to vote. In the area that I've been in, that I live in, there was a steady stream, but it seems like in other parts of Dublin, it's been a very low turnout so far. Now, we do know that Irish people, either it goes two ways with Irish people. They're either going to vote or they're not going to vote. Now, some will get it done in the morning. Some will get it done in the afternoon. But there will be a last mad rush in the evening. People tend to vote mostly in the evening time. But I did overhear a conversation while I was out voting, and it kind of really annoyed me because it is the attitude of some Irish people out there, and you need to kind of refrain from this attitude, which is, well, it's the elections today, but I'm not going to bother to vote. I can't be arsed. Well, if that's the attitude you have, right? Well, then to me, you can't complain if the election doesn't go your way and then all of a sudden you find yourself out of pocket because you didn't bother to go out and vote. See, I don't think there's any excuses. I think the climate that we're in today, people need to be getting out there and voting. Now, earlier on today, folks, I put some video footage up for you, right? But earlier on today, and I put a screenshot up on the community post as well, but it's being reported that NGOs are actually driving non-nationals around polling centres to vote. Now, I've already been saying this a long time, people now only on X saying, it's election interference. Listen, the election, these elections have been rigged for a very long time. The amount of people that this government have given citizenship to just proves that. Also, we've seen some posts as well. I put them up. A Sinn Féin candidate trying to harvest votes. We've also seen messages and information parties are sending out to these non-nationals by telling them, well, if you don't want to vote for one of us, vote for one of the candidate there that will make a difference for you. So basically, vote for the non-national candidate is what they're being told to do. This is why the parties are all across the establishment have gotten in non-nationals in this election, because that's the whole point, folks. The government's so desperate to hold on to power that they're using non-nationals to do this. And people need to wake up and wise up. And listen, I used to have this attitude on voting. Voting was very erratic for me, I've got to be honest, right? But not anymore, right? That shit that doesn't hold with me anymore. Every election there is, I'm going to be voting from now on. It's as simple as that. Any referendum I'm going to be voting on. I'm going to vote on everything now because I do believe in it. Before I did have that attitude like a lot of Irish people. My vote is not going to count, so I'm not going to bother. But it does. It matters more than ever before. And I said yesterday when we went live that today was going to be the most important vote that you've ever cast in your lifetime. And I wasn't being over dramatic. It's the truth. It's the truth. The dynamic of this country, right? We could see a new dynamic by tomorrow. Now, how does it go? So the polls were open at 7, I think, this morning. They close at 10 p.m. So if I'm correct in saying, what will happen is that what they'll do is that night they'll separate the votes. So the European and the locals, they'll separate them all, and then the counting will resume tomorrow morning, as far as I know. Now, but I need to say this because we've seen it in other countries, but this is the time where Irish people have to be very vigilant, right? Because this will be the time, right, when everybody's gone home and the polling stations have closed and they're separating the votes. That's the time when rigging can happen, right? So we've got to, I would say to people, be vigilant out there. And I know there'll be a few nationalists out there that'll probably be keeping an eye on these polling stations to make sure nothing untoward is being going on. Because that's where they'll do it, folks. That's where they'll do it. They'll do it when everybody's gone home and the polling stations have closed. That's when they'll do it, right? And of course, they'll, we're living in an age now where, that is possible, even in Ireland. And you'd be naive to think that they wouldn't rig an election in this country. Listen, they were embarrassed by the referendum, right? They can't afford another embarrassment. But this is why I'm telling Irish people, you need to stop with that attitude. Oh no, I'm not going to bother to vote. Get out there and vote. If you're registered and you got your information, right, go down and bloody vote. It only takes a few minutes anyway. I was in and out after 5 minutes, right? But there was a steady flow of people going into the area that I was in, which was great to see. And I have to say, it seemed to be very a very excited atmosphere when I got into the place where I was voting, and it was as I said, I was in and out. So get out there and vote. There is no excuse, and I don't want to hear it. If this doesn't go our way today or tomorrow when the votes come in, if this doesn't go, then the Irish people have a lot to answer for. You have a lot to answer for, right? I mean, how many times are you guys going to let the establishment walk all over you? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's been happening for decades, not just this government. People need to think back throughout their lifetime, because I have, right? Every Fianna Fáil-led government or any Fine Gael-led government have broken their promises over the decades, okay? So this is why it's important to get out there and vote. We need to change the political landscape of this country. And the only way you can do that is if Irish people get up off their arses and vote. Right? It's not going to happen by some magic wand. So we're not going to wake up one morning and everybody is, the establishment is being completely ruined. That doesn't work that way. And I'm serious, this is an important day. I was actually nervous a little bit. I think I was nervous. I was nervous today. And everybody should be nervous today. This is a huge, this could be a turning point in this country's history. And I'm not over-exaggerating this. Some people might think I'm over-exaggerating. I don't think people realise how bad it is in this country. This is the most important vote. And then the general election then coming up is the most important general election in this country's history. Irish people need to wake up, right? And if you're all waiting, if this attitude, we'll wait till the general election to get them out. No. That's not the attitude to have, right? Let's get some of them out now and get the rest of them out then the general election, right? We can't let them control the local councils anymore or be in Europe anymore, right? It's as simple as that. And I'm putting this across the screen, right? And it's staying there until we're finished. Get out and vote. Right, let's see if we got in the chat. We got 55 people watching at the moment. Welcome. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I'd really appreciate the support. As I said, let me know if you have voted. You don't have to let me know if you don't want to who you voted for, but if you have already voted, let me know if you have, guys, because be very interested to see how many people have watched here from Ireland and have actually gone out to vote. So it'll be interesting. We've got Latita Logan in the chat. We've got B in the chat as well. Welcome. Who else have we got there? We've got Paddy McFaw with his tricolour again. I love that, Paddy. Welcome. And Paddy voted first thing this morning. There you go. So he says, there will throw his comment up. I voted first thing this morning, so I've earned the right to complain. Anyone who thinks they're small and can't make a difference never spent a night in a tent with a mosquito. Listen, you're absolutely right, though. This attitude, and I had it, I won't lie, I had it a few years back that, well, you know, my vote is not going to mean anything. But it really does. It really does. And this is another thing that has been forgotten around the world, not just in Ireland. People need to understand your vote is important, right? That's democracy in work. Now, in some countries, it might be corrupt. Okay, fair enough. I get that. But exercise your right to vote, because if you don't, and then the people get in that you don't like, then you have no right to complain, right? Us people that have voted, we have every right to complain. But you guys won't have anything to complain about. And you have no right to complain. So get out there and vote. David there says, I voted local level for William O'Brien and Oliver O'Neill, two who weren't the other usual parties. Again, in some areas, I will say this, there's not a nationalist candidate in the local election, but obviously there was for the European. So I did that. Obviously, I did nationalists for the European. But for locals, I've been looking at all the candidates and studying them over the past few weeks, the ones that are running in my area. So basically what I did was, because it was the only way that I could do it, so my vote actually meant something, was I voted for the two lesser evil independent candidates that were there. You know, not any of them did, you know, let's just put it this way, they were the lesser of the two evils out of the whole lot of them. A lot of them had things that I didn't like about them straight away, and of course the mainstream parties and these new parties are not going to vote for. So that's what I had to do in my area, but I did vote nationalist in the European election, absolutely, and bring it on. And Gina just got back from voting. Fair play to you, Gina. Well done. James also went down and voted. Well done, James. Well done. Let me know if you have voted, and I'll tell you. I'll give you a well done, because you know what I mean. The bottom line is, you got up off your arses and you did something. So I'm proud of you all. David is telling us who he actually voted for. He says, I voted for Derek Bly and Michael Leahy, Ross Levine, Una McCurk, and Punch, says David O'Connor. And we got Paul there who voted as well. He said he voted at lunchtime. There was a shocking amount of non-nationals there. Again, see, this is the thing, guys. That's why it's important. You know, you're born and bred on this land, right? Look at this country isn't perfect, right? We all know that, but this country nurtured us. It's our home, right? She's worth protecting. And if you've seen Ireland, I mean, you've all seen the satellite pictures and the pictures of space of our beautiful land. And it is, I'm not being biased, but you look at the map of the world, Ireland's just beautiful. It's a beautiful looking piece of land, right? And it's ours. And it's worth protecting, right? It's nurtured us, right? It's protected us. Now it's our turn to do the same for her, right? And our country is a she, because she is beautiful. And if you haven't seen Ireland from space, go and Google it right now. Look at the Google images of Ireland at night time and during the day. It's absolutely beautiful. It is, right? It's worth fighting for. again. Look, done at 9 a.m. this morning. Says Latita. Well done. Absolutely fantastic. And sorry, me pronunciations as I explained this. I've got a bit of a speech thing. Sutton are just back from voting themselves, and Paddy McFaw, John Waters. Is that who you voted for, John Waters? Well done. Davis says my ballot papers had them to choose from, or ones that were anti-Irish, and there were some I did know and some I didn't know. I tried my best to vote. I'm not going to say it, but I know what you mean. That's what I did. You know, you have to be. I strategized. See, I could say that, but I can't say the other word. I strategized. I was being coy with me. Letitia. Oh, I'm saying your name wrong. I'm an idiot. Sorry. See, I'm making a show of myself now, but there you go. Anyway, yeah, that's what I try to do, David. And that's what I will encourage people to do. Listen, if there's no nationalist candidate on your local ballot, then just go for the two lesser evils, but don't go for any of the main parties or any of these newer parties like Social Democrats and those other fucking idiots. You know what I mean? Just be clever about your vote. Yeah, my wife does that with me with the breaking up of the words, but listen, I can't be arsed. You're not an idiot. It's Z more difficult. Yeah, I know. I'm just, yeah. I don't know what it is. I've been like that ever since I was a kid. It's just something I don't know. I hope it was enough, lads and ladies. Look at David. The bottom line is right. Everybody in this chat can hold their head up high because you voted, right? So you did your bit, right? We all did our bit that are here, right? So bottom line is it's up to the rest of the country now to do us proud, right? You've did your bit, and I know plenty of people on the nationalist side that have voted because we're all talking to each other today, and they all went out and voted. Paddy Frank says he's on my way soon. Good man. Doesn't matter when you vote. Once you vote before the deadline. But well done, Paddy. Try and encourage other people out there to vote as well if you can. If they're saying that they're not voting, just tell them, just do what I did. I was just out straight. I never want for actually doing that and overhearing the conversation and sticking my nose in. But I did today because it is important, and I think people need to realise that it is important to vote today. But yeah, it's interesting. So I'll check Twitter here now, right? So while I'm on, obviously, and we'll see if there's anything. So Mike Connell, who I follow on X, and I had on actually X. We did a live stream actually on X because he's as you know, you probably know him. He's very controversial. He can be, but so funny. I love the man. We had a laugh the last stream that we actually did. He's having a spaces tonight. John McKirk is also having he's also doing a kind of an election, local and European election party. He's a guest with other people. So there's lots happening tonight. There's actually lots happening tonight. Different people are setting up their podcast. Now, I'll probably be back a little bit later on as well. Now, once we find out what the polling numbers were like. Let's see. We'll see if we, while we're on, hopefully we might get some indication if it's a strong turnout. So hold on. So apparently, someone has just wrote this up, right? I was looking forward to voting today in the elections. As I walked up to my nearby polling station, they told me I wasn't registered to vote. I told them that I had voted in the March 8th referendum not too long ago. I couldn't understand. I rang up their local council and they told me there was no his name, and I won't mention it on stream, that was registered. I told them, how can this be when I literally voted in the March 8th referendum? So I questioned them and asked them if I was took off the list by mistake. They said there was no sign if his name was registered. How can this be when I literally voted in the referendum not long ago? I told them that there's people in this country that are not even 2 weeks with no proper documentation that are allowed vote, but me born and raised in Limerick City and I can't even vote. What's that about? Like, genuinely, I reckon I was removed off the list unfairly, and I'm going further about it. I was going to vote one of the independents in the local election and Derek Bly in the European elections. I can't do that now, unfortunately, as I've been unfairly refused. I will definitely be going further about this. I will keep you updated. Now, some people have said, and this is why all the nationalists have been telling people for weeks and weeks and months, make sure that you're still registered, because they were taking people off the register. And there you go, someone in Limerick now, a young lad, by the way, it's probably his for. Oh, do you know? I won't say who it is, right? But he was going to vote and he can't vote, right? So again, we're fighting a system here. But before anybody gets a little bit disheartened, can I just remind everybody, as I did yesterday before we left, that we did beat this government in the referendum, and they had 25 million or more pumped into that for the yes vote, and we defeated them. So we can make big gains here today. I wouldn't be getting disheartened, but hearing that type of thing shows you. And as I said, South Dublin County Partnership has arranged transport for asylum seekers to get out and vote. And our advice is to leave races blank on the ballot. So basically, this movement of asylum seekers international that's operating in Ireland has told out straight what they're doing. They're basically getting these non-nationalists or non-nationals to vote for others rather than get them to vote for who they claim are racist, which is the nationalists. So that is clear, right in your face, right? And by the way, I threw that up on the YouTube channel in the community post if you want to read it for yourselves. So that's election interference right there and then. We've got Rock Nolan in the chat as well. And we got the Irish King. I didn't know we had a king, but welcome, Your Majesty. We've got Jim K140 in the chat as well. Polish people living here and working here for 20 years couldn't even vote today. That's what I mean. And like, this is the thing that's a bit that I hate about this. Far right racists. That's what I mean. We've got a Polish community in this country. We've got a Brazilian community in this country. And we've had a strong Chinese community in this country for decades. Right? The country is not racist. We've just said we don't want these people in that are just, look at them, they're intense. Right? They're just supposed to be doctors, nurses, and engineers and all of this other bollocks. But they're intense. And then who's Who's paying for those pens? Who's feeding them? That's right, you guys in the chat are. We got Tank Inc in the chat. Yup, yup, he says. Yup, yup. At least the Polish work hard in their country. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, there was some that came over when they first came over that did exploit the system, but they were. See, this is what I don't understand. The Irish government dealt with the Polish people that were actually fiddling the system here, right? That's when they brought in the ID cards, because they didn't have the ID cards originally, right? But then when the Polish were fiddling with the system, they brought in the cards, and then the Polish that actually were fiddling went home, and the ones that were genuinely working here stayed here. Do you know what I mean? So we did that for the Polish people. We won't do that for anybody else. Like, see, this is what I don't understand. These people are stupid in government. They don't understand. They think that we want everybody gone. At this rate now, everybody that's on the streets of Dublin, that's living in a tent, that's a migrant, should be sent home. You know, so, you know, I heard other nationalists say we need a plan, our own. We don't need a plan. Here's the plan, right? We get a load of planes. We got Dublin Airport, don't we? Yeah, we find out where all these fuckers and which countries they're from, and then we whack them on a load of planes, you see, and we fly them out. We fly them out of here. Simple as that. We don't need a plan. The plan is fly them out. And yes, it's going to cost the taxpayer money, right? It's going to cost a lot of money to do it. But I think if the Irish people are really serious about this and really think that the country needs to be protected, well, then I don't think the cost will matter to Irish people, right? Because that's the bottom line. Yeah, I hope people understand that, say, get them out, like Paddy there, and I say get them out as well. But understand this, the financial burden on the taxpayer is going to be felt, because this is not cheap. See, this is the thing, right? We spent a lot of money bringing them in, keeping them here, but it's going to cost even more to get rid of them, right? That's the problem. Right, let's see what else is on Twitter. See that? I'm only at the flicker through Twitter there just for a second, and we already got something to talk about. Oh yeah, another thing as well. So Enoch Burke's brother posted a video. Now I was going to throw it up on YouTube, but he's throwing it up on his own YouTube channel. But with my channel being close to, you know, on the edge, I decided not to throw it up. But he has revealed in the video that independent candidates or certain European candidates have signed this kind of LGBTQ plus pledge thing, which is absolutely ridiculous. What's that got to do with fucking European business? But there you go. So they've named all the journalists. So I'm going to tell you now, because if there's any that's thinking of voting for these gobshites, maybe you should know what they actually stand for. So where's this list? Just give me a second. Did I even... I thought I retweeted that article. Hold on. I'll get it now up. Well, you have the usual suspects from people before profit, right? So let's see. Where is this list? So Grift Media are reporting a steady turnout has been reported at polling stations across the country so far today, as people go to the polls to cast their votes in local and European elections. But then a local candidate from Finglas has actually said that the turnout is actually low in some areas. So you don't know. See, this is the thing. You won't know till later on. you know, a lot of these early exit polls and stuff like that will be. So just want to know the name of these idiots. So we've got Bride Smith, people before profit. So no shock there. You know, the woman who pushed this abortion nonsense in our country. So I have no respect. Regina Doherty also signed this rubbish. Barry Andrews, Fianna Fáil. Brian O'Boyle, another people before profit muppet. Kane Prendeville, another people before profit muppet. Pauline O'Reilly, the Green Party. Aidan O'Riordan, the gobshite from the Labour Party, who blocked me because I told him that if he ever spoke about Irish voters like that again, we'd make sure he'd lose his seat. But he didn't like that. Rory Hearn from the Social Democrats, the little muppet. We got Kieran Cruft, the Green Party. Grace O'Sullivan, the Green Party. Luke Ming Flanagan, the biggest pothead TD in Dublin. Independent, of course. Fergal Landy, the Labour Party. Billy Kelleher, Fianna Fáil. Sinead Gibney, which I'm not fucking surprised at all with the fucking videos that she's being thrown out. Social Democrats. Niamh Horgan, the Labour Party. And of course, we've got the former Rosa Tralee, who does absolutely fuck all. Maria Walsh, Fine Gael. So all of these idiots have signed this LGBTQ plus pledge. And the articles from Grift Media, and the headline reads, just to let you know what the headline reads, Irish candidates sign pledge from NGO with past links to, you know, those groups, you know, groups with kids. I can't say it on YouTube, but, you know, the foil groups, you know, add P and a O, you know, yeah. So, that's what they've signed with an NGO group that has links to, you know, doing stuff to kids. So there you go. That's what these gobshites have done. So they're the 16 candidates there. There's 16 candidates for European election that you should have absolutely nothing to do with. And we got Sean O'Malley in the chat. We got TM in the chat. We got Let's Go Brandon in the chat. Yes, Donald Trump 2024. Bring it on. Come on. We got Sonia in the chat as well. Welcome, Sonia. Nice to see you. Nice. Anybody old enough will know what I'm actually doing there. Sick of this trans agenda. Yeah, I have to be very careful on YouTube. If I was just on, and I'm on Facebook as well. It's on 3 platforms. If I was just on X, we'd be fine. But YouTube and Facebook, you know what Zuckerberg is like. You can't even sneeze, and that idiot is blocking you or doing something to your account. You know. That's it, Paddy. That's it. We got James Casey in the chat as well. Are you worried by the excessive criminality in the Irish Freedom Party? Well, I didn't vote for anybody in the Irish Freedom Party, and to be quite honest with you, you know, I've said this and I've made my position clear. You know, there's only 1 or 2 candidates in the Irish Freedom Party that I would say give your vote to, but I don't really trust the Irish Freedom Party. But I've never hid away from that fact. But I have interviewed Herman Kelly. I interviewed him on X a good few months back now at this stage. But you know, it doesn't matter what my personal feelings are certain parties. You know, the bottom line is I'm not here to influence anybody on how they vote. And as I've said, and I'll make it clear, just like other nationalists have said, you know, I condemn any forms of criminality. Of course I do. There's a way of doing things in this country, and that's not one of them. But, at the end of the day, I'm not naive and stupid to think that stuff doesn't happen. Of course it happens, but it happens in every other country. But that's not my concern. The bottom line is that my concern is to get these people out of government so all of that bullshit stops. Who else have we got? Let's go, Brandon. Thumbs up. Sorry, the chat just moved there. I love your channel. Good work. Thank you very much. Try my best to get as much information out there. Oh, yeah, you got on yesterday. I know it's a bit sidetracked because we're on the election today. But there was a controlled explosion in Fairview, Dublin, yesterday. Now, I did put up a few videos for you. If you haven't seen them, go and check it out. You actually hear in one of them, you actually hear the explosion. And your man that's recording nearly shit himself. I thought it was funny, actually, when the explosion went off and he nearly lost his shit. It was like as if he nearly had a heart attack. But, yeah, but I've got to be, listen, I'm not saying that Dublin hasn't had problems in the past. We have with gangland crime and all of that other nonsense going on, right? I'm not denying that. But when I see what's happening in Dublin and what I've seen over the last year and a half, I'm telling you now, it was never ever in my lifetime up until now, it was never that bad. It was never that bad. You weren't seeing people running around with machetes and knives and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know what it is with people today anyway. What happened with fair fighting? You know what I mean? Fighting fair, fighting with your old-fashioned, proper fighting. Everybody has to have a weapon. Like it's people don't fight just so when for someone to win, right, and leave it out when someone's had enough, right? Now when people fight, they're fighting to kill someone. Like they're literally fighting to kill someone. I told people who I voted for on Twitter, but I did vote in European elections. I voted the National Party, and locals I voted two independents that were, let's just say, the least toxic ones out of the list that I had. As I said, a lot of people have been strategizing when they're casting their vote, and that's exactly what I did. You have to be smart when you're voting, We've got Anne Burke in the chat, and she says, corruption and puppets, that's what we've got to put up with. To thy own self be true, Ireland for the Irish. And I like that. Thank you very much. Rock Nolan, Fianna Fáil, came, go, jump. What good have they done to our country? They've had, since this country was a republic, they've had plenty of chances, just like Fine Gael, right? So that's the way I look at it. As I said, this isn't just one government. People have to look at this. Go back throughout your lifetime and remember the promises that previous governments made you, whether it was a Fianna Fáil-led government, whether it was a Fianna Fáil-led government, right, or coalition with any of those, right? They've never delivered on their promises to any of the people, right? They sold us out to the bankers, right? They didn't do the right thing. They did the wrong thing, and they put it on you, the taxpayer, right? And the Irish people suffered that burden. They didn't care about us suffering, but they certainly didn't suffer. Remember that. Remember that. A lot of people, right? That's when the housing crisis really, really, really got worse, right? Because people were literally losing their homes over the roofs over their heads because the banks were repossessing, right? So always remember that, right? And then just recent history. remember what they did during this pandemic, and I have to be careful on YouTube, but you know all the restrictions, you know all the things that they done, right? But this is decades of neglect from Fianna Fáil and Fianna Gael, right? It doesn't matter about the other parties that they coalesced with. The bottom line is, right, they've all let us down these last few decades. And it's about time that they're taught a lesson. And if that means kicking them out for the foreseeable future, right, until they learn their lesson and they go back to their roots, proper roots, right? A proper Fianna Fáil party and a proper Fine Gael party run the right way, back to their roots, are good parties, right? The problem is that the TDs are inside them. They're all about themselves. They're all about their family legacy, right? Keeping their family heritage going, right? And remember, a lot of these politicians as well, right? We've got Barry Cowan running, right? Brian Cowan's brother, right? Right, his father ran before him. We've got to stop these dynasties in Irish politics. We've got to stop these generational politicians now. It's time to fuck them out. Niall Boylan. What do I think of Niall Boylan? I think Niall Boylan's a spoofer, if I'm honest. I don't think he... I mean, maybe he does mean well, like you said, but you've got to be in this 100%, and he's not in this 100%. Where was he? You know, before then? Before he decided to run, and he was nowhere. Right? He was on radio complaining and whatever. But I think he's a waste of energy, to be quite honest with you. You know, if he doesn't get elected and he keeps this up, and he does the groundwork like the other candidates have done, then I say give him your vote. But I don't think he's worthy of your vote, to be quite honest with you, because he hasn't done the groundwork like the rest of them have. We got Michael John Dennis in the chat as well. Welcome. We got Third West Cork in the chat as well. Emmanuel Godson is in the chat as well. Welcome. And again, there you go. I mean, if he was pushing that stuff, then, you know, I don't think he's worthy of your vote. Listen, you've got to listen. People that pushed that, right, wanted your rights taken away from you. I didn't get jabbed, and I don't intend on getting jabbed. Actually, I even went as far as to say that I will never get another jab for anything ever again. I won't even get a tetanus anymore. I don't trust these people and never will trust them again in my lifetime. Right? Okay? When this is the way I look at it, right? When they started to push that, right? Because maybe I've got a bit about me, you know, I'm a bit smart maybe, I don't know. But when I saw that, that was an indication to me that I should stay well away. Because why do you have to push something that apparently is going to save everybody's life? Why did you have to use fear-mongering tactics and then say that you're going to take people's rights away if this worked? So there you go. So anybody, as far as I'm concerned, that pushed that is not worthy of your vote. And if there is nationalist, as I said, candidates out there that have pushed this, well, I'll say it out straight. They're not worth your vote either. I hate to say it, but they're not. Anybody that pushed this is an enemy to the people. Simple as that. And there you go. There's a bit of advice for everybody there. Get your medical directive done at the solicitor's, €100 in case of hospital or care home. Yeah, there should be something in writing as well to say that there's no right to bleed and jab you without your fucking permission. Because we've heard of that in other countries where someone has gone in for an operation and then they've been told that they were given the jab. No, that never happened before, by the way, folks. Right? So again, to me, that's red flags everywhere. Is there any anti-EU candidates? Well, here's the logical thing, right? Here's the thing, the logic that the nationalists have. So their rationale for running in Europe isn't that they're pro-European. They think that if they get in there, they might become a bit of a disruption. But here's the thing. I was actually sent this a few weeks back. Ireland doesn't have to run any European candidates to leave Europe. We can actually trigger Article 50, whatever it is. What's a 50 fucking whatever, right? We can actually trigger that without having any European candidates. But in saying that, though, if we didn't run nationalist candidates, and I've only come to terms with this the last few weeks, by the way, because I couldn't understand why they were running nationalist candidates if they were against Europe. But I kind of get it now, because, if we can stop any of the mainstream parties or the candidates that have been in Europe, if we could stop them from getting back into Europe, then that is actually a good thing. We've taken the seat away from them. Do you know what I mean? So, and then obviously, if we can get a nationalist government in, I don't think it'll happen this general election, but certainly by the next one, right? Then you're in a position, if you can retain those European seats at the nationalists can retain those European seats, then by the time you go into the next general election, the nationalist parties then will be and independent candidates will be in a better position, in a better primed position for the next general election to actually cause an upset. Right? Now, if they can't take over fully, if we can get enough votes that one of these bastard parties have to do a coalition with them, right? And I know that won't sit well with the majority of people, Nationalist Party coalescing with them. But it's either that or we go back to the polls, and then I think the people would vote for I think they would, second crack at it, they would vote for the mainstream parties, and then we're back to square one. So you'd have to go in to government with them, whether you like that or not. But the best thing about it is the nationalists are in a best position to disrupt everything that these parties wanted to do. And for these parties are so desperate to stay in fucking power, right? It'll test their resolve of how far the nationalists can actually push them. And remember, Fianna Fáil, there's infighting in Fianna Fáil, and there's infighting in Fine Gael right now, right? And I guarantee if it goes badly for them, that's just going to get worse, right? It's just going to get worse. So we're in a pretty good position once everybody gets out and fucking votes. We got Jason O'Brien in the chat. How many years have we got left? Well, the general election is slated for next year, but I reckon if this goes tits up for them tonight, well, tomorrow when the results start coming in, then we could see a general election before the end of the year. But today is the focus. Today is what's important. And if we get that big, look, if we can embarrass them again like we did for the referendum, then, this government is gone. This government is gone. It's not going to even last the summer break. It'll be that bad. So We just have to wait and see. Fingers crossed. Look, we've already seen the bus loads of fucking van loads of migrants being driven to polling stations. Let's just hope, as I said, that Irish people get out there now and actually vote, because if you don't, then listen, if you don't, then we're handing the keys. Look at what's happened in England. Look what's happened in London, right? If these people get in, that's what we're going to look like. So get out and vote. That's it. Unseat one of those big names. That's it, man, Jason. Absolutely spot on. So let me see. What have we got here? Just having a look to see if there's any. Oh, yeah. Interesting, because this has been brought up. Because I actually heard this myself. So I know this is true. So there's been lots of reports out there that people are voting, right? But when they're going in to vote, obviously they've got their piece of slip of paper. So, obviously it's either been posted to them or they've stolen it, which would be hard to do. But I heard this for myself. So the person in front of me didn't have ID, and they still let sure, we won't say anything about that, go ahead, and gave him his ballot papers. Whereas I had me ID there. It's being reported by RNTV. Hearing lots of reports from Dublin city centre of voters not being asked for IDs at polls. Are people getting asked for IDs? Now, I was not asked for me ID, but I handed me ID when I handed me slip. That's how I do it. And obviously she was forced to look at me ID. But the person in front of me, they asked if he had his ID, he took his wallet out, but he nodded no, and then the woman laughed and goes, sure, we won't say anything about that, there you go. I mean, it would be very hard, do you know what I mean? Because mine got posted in it would be very hard for someone to get your actual slip, now, in fairness, right? But still, the rules are you're supposed to ask for ID. So ask for ID, like. Fanula is in the chat. Welcome, Fanula. I was not asked for any ID, nor my son was. There you go. Paddy says it's rigged. Paddy, listen, mate. Ben Gilroy said that earlier on. Listen. And as I said to Ben, and I'll say the same thing to you, and I don't mean any disrespect by it, but this is old news, right? This is old news, right? We know that it's being rigged. So look at the amount of citizenships that they gave to people as well. Who do you think is going to vote? Who they're going to vote for, right? This is why a lot of these parties are running non-national candidates, right? So they'll vote for them. It's still a vote for their party, right? So this was rigged a long time ago, right? Even the referendum was rigged, but the difference was that Irish people got up off their arses and voted, and it was a landslide. This is what Irish people need to do again today to guarantee that it doesn't go that way. So, it's been rigged for a very long time, mate. And even the upcoming election, sure, by the time the election comes up, there'll be more non-nationals registered, right? So it'll be even more important again for Irish people to get out there. Remember, there's still more of us on this fucking island, for fuck's sake. I think we forget we're still the majority in this country, like, do you know what I mean? I know the country's in a bit of a state, right? And I know that there's migrants everywhere, but there's still fucking 6 million of us, right? So, you know, this is what I said earlier on today. Irish people, I hear two women, you know, having a conversation. You know, it's voting day. I don't think I'll bother. Yeah, you will fucking bother. It's important, right? So that's what I'd say to you, mate. Go instead, just encourage other people to vote. We know it's rigged already. We know we're fighting against the system, but we beat them once before, and we'll beat them again. We will beat them again, right? If we get a decent enough result, look at be under no illusion. We were never going to whitewash everything today, right? It was all about getting as many candidates in and getting their foot in the door, right? And I genuinely believe we'll do that. By tomorrow, we'll find that some of the national candidates have made it, right? And that'll be a win, right? You even heard, what was it, Simon Hart, someone come out from government say, please don't vote the far right candidates, right? So they're scared. They're scared. Why would he come out and say that if they weren't worried about the impact we could make, right? Even Mary Lou McDonald shot herself in the foot again, coming out saying it's a noisy minority, far righters, and all of this, right? They still don't get it. She's a fucking plonker, she is. What's she doing? Taking our brother's fucking, what you call it, gender medicine, puberty blockers or something. Has it clogged your brain or something? Has a noisy minority? No, love. You obviously haven't been watching the footage of all of these marches. We're the majority, love. We're the majority. You're the minority, along with all of these other WEF shill fucking traitor parties that have given up Ireland to those people, right? Fucking, she's a doctor. I'll tell you, do you know what? There was one time we were all hoping that Mary Lou was going to be a future leader of this country, because we all thought, yeah, she's no nonsense. She has a backbone, and she'll do well. She'll do right by the people of Ireland, right? These last few years, from where Sinn Féin was to where they are today, is a 180, man. And they sold out. Listen, we should have known this. Sinn Féin's always been at this anyway, right? I mean, you know, you have to go back through the troubles. You know, they used the hunger strikers. You know, they were involved in terrible atrocities. You know, they covered up abuses of women and children within their organisation. You know, we should have known, really. You know, but the signs were there. Sinn Féin, look, no matter what people think, you know, Republican and all of this, right? Sinn Féin were never going to be any good for this country, right? And they never will be any good for this country, right? Because they don't have the country's best interests at heart, right? They're part of the global agenda, and we need people in there that are not part of the global agenda, that have an Irish agenda, have Irish people as their main source of focus, right? We always get screwed over. Earthly Mamav is in the chat as well. Lee Marshall is in the chat using some colourful language, which I agree with, mate, but just be careful because of YouTube, yeah? But I do agree with you, absolutely 100%, man. That's all they are. They're sellouts. The sellouts. Listen, they sell their own granny, right, to get a piece of the action, piece of the pie. And that's what it is, right? Listen, all of these people, right? Here's the thing, we never really do it in Irish politics, but you always notice when the Americans, you know, channels like this on the other side of the pond, and they show like the money that these politicians had before, you know, they became big major players, and now they're all multi-millionaires. Everybody should dig into fucking Irish politics and see how rich these fuckers actually are. Because that's your indicator right there. Because we know how much they get paid because we're supposed to know how much they get paid. So then, if they're worth a few million, then I'd like to know where they've got all of that money from because they didn't get it through their wages working for the Irish people. So they're obviously doing deals and getting envelopes handed to them. Right? And Ireland is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. I'm sorry, it's sad to say, but it's the truth. It's the truth. This country is rotten to the core. Rotten. Those walls that Leinster House need to be scrubbed out. Right? They need to be disinfected. It's rotten. And think of the things that these previous governments have buried, right? And swept under the carpet. And we know they've done a lot, right? They've shamed our people. They've shamed this beautiful land of ours, right? And I say no more. I say no more. So fight for what's yours. And that's what it is. This is your country. Fight for what's yours. So get out there and vote. Get out there and vote. Right? Remember one thing. A 32-year-old man took a bullet for this country. A man that achieved more than any of us will ever achieve in our lifetime. The greatest Irish man that ever lived, Michael Collins. Right? This is what we're protecting as well. We're protecting his legacy and the legacy of those men, women and children who sacrificed their lives so I could talk here today to you guys as an Irishman. Right? So not only do we owe it to future generations of this country, we owe it to past generations for the sacrifices that they made for us. Because that man means the world to me. I grew up on everything Michael Collins. He was the hero in our family. And I even the movie Michael Collins, right? I don't know, this is going to be a bit sad to say, right? But I don't care, right? This is how much he means to me. But when he gets shot in that movie, right? I feel it. I break down crying because I understand how important that moment is in Irish history. Because that's the day that this country went down a completely different path to the path that he wanted this country to go down. That path was closed off that day. And that had a lasting effect on this country and has continued still to this day. This is not the vision of Ireland he would have had. Right? We know from the things that he has said, right? And the ideals that he had and the ideas that he had to have some sort of understanding of what he wanted this country to become. Right? But it would have been better than what we have today, guaranteed. And I tell you, there'd be more national pride in this country. You know the way you see in the States, you see people getting up in the morning to put their American flag out, right? And show pride in the flag, then go out in the evening then to take it down. As in the sunset or something, they take the flag down. I don't know exactly when, right? But could you imagine if Ireland was like that? Now, we did it during Italia 90 and it was great. But look at the difference our country was with all those tricolours all over during Italia 90. It was great to see Irish flags everywhere, right? That's the way this country should be all the time. There should be Irish flags everywhere. Apartment blocks like this where I live, there should be a flagpole. There should be an Irish flag flying. National pride. I know the movie wasn't accurate. Sure, I know even where they in the movie where he was shot wasn't the. Listen, I know, but it doesn't matter. The movie still has that effect, you know. But I've studied the man. He's a fascinating character. Even his time in prison, fascinating character. But that man achieved more in his lifetime than we ever will, and he gave his life because he knew when he went down to Cork, right, there was a chance that he mightn't come back, but he went anyway. And in my estimation, right, as far as I'm concerned, if you know there's a chance that you could die and you still choose to go down there, well then as far as I'm concerned, you are the greatest person that ever lived, and you deserve all the accolades. And it's just such a shame that we don't celebrate that man more. He should have a statue in the centre of Dublin. See that spire? That spire shouldn't be there. Right? I call that the stiffy near the liffey. Right? That spire shouldn't be there. Right? There should be a fucking big statue of Michael Collins exactly in that fucking spot. Right? And also I'd say this as well, because I'm a bit of a Dubliners fan as well. There should be a fucking statue in Dublin of the Dubliners as well. All of the members of the Dubliners that ever were. Right? A statue as well. I mean, but Michael Collins should be celebrated more in this country. And the governments, it doesn't matter whether it's Fianna Fáil or Fianna Gael, they're embarrassed about our past. We shouldn't be embarrassed about our past. We should embrace it. We should embrace it. Because of our past, it's made us who we are today. So to dismiss that is highly disrespectful, in my opinion. I tell you, man, if I was looking after the whole celebrations of all of that, the Easter Rising and all of that, man, it'd be done properly. It'd be done properly. It wouldn't be just one day here, and you know what I mean, on the actual anniversary itself, right? I'd have a whole fucking thing going all over the fucking country. And there's Paddy there again with his tricolour. We'll put that on the screen there. Well done, Paddy. No biopics are really, Steve, no biopics are really accurate. I mean, look at the Johnny Cash one. You know, I love that movie, by the way, Walk the Line, but it's so inaccurate, it's unbelievable. Even some parts of Bohemian Rhapsody, you know, we know they're never accurate, but it was. I think Liam Neeson did a great job playing Michael Collins. He absolutely did. You know, and I felt it when he died. Do you know what I mean? Even though I know it's not exactly how it happened, but you still feel that impact. I mean, and for the movie to do that, that's what I mean. You know, he was such a powerful character, you know, in this country's history, that even years later, a movie made about him, and okay, it mightn't be historically accurate in all of the details, but when his death scene has the impact still to this day that it would have had back when he was actually, you know, taken from Irish people, is a testament of the man, in my opinion. I have huge respect for what he did, and we'll never emulate that man. But the one thing we can do is we can safeguard and help protect his legacy and help change the course of this country and make him proud of. Hopefully we do him justice and give him a vision of Ireland that he's happy with. Well, listen, nationalists are not always going to get everything right either, by the way. Nobody gets everything right. But the one thing I want from nationalists is even if they make a mistake here and there, you come out and own it as well. The greatest politicians out there own their mistakes, right? Here's the thing, you know, JFK, when the Bay of Pigs went wrong, you know, he said he was going to apologize to the American people. And a lot in his camp were dead against it because, according to them, it would make him look weak. Well, he went and did the national address anyway and addressed the American nation and told them, listen, I fecked up, blah, blah, blah. And they forgave him. And he became the most popular president, and he's still talked about today, JFK. Right? So, you know, as I said, no politician out there is going to be perfect. No politician is always going to get it right. But once they always have good intentions and it was done for the right reasons, and it doesn't go against what Irish people believe, you know, Irish people can be very forgiving, like. Do you know what I mean? Just once it doesn't happen all the fucking time. This is what I hate about this. They just won't acknowledge any mistakes that they've made. It's the far right's fault. Oh, it's a wave of far right across Europe. It's in Ireland, but it's their fault. It's not our fault that we've ruined the country, like. I wish Ireland had stayed a small, quiet country. No, you know, I disagree with that. I mean, we're a small island, yes, but I think our people are very intelligent. Our people have worked hard. There's a bit of a stereotype of our people, which is a bad stereotype. I mean, a lot of people think that we're just a bunch of lazy drunkards who beat up their missuses and all of this other nonsense. I've seen that over the past few months, especially St. Patrick's Day. There was a lot of hate towards us. But no, I disagree with you. The Irish should be loud and proud. We should be loud and proud. And if this country was run properly and we treated our people well, we could forge our way in this world and make a mark on this planet. That's the way I look at it. Do you know what I mean? We can achieve great things in this country. Right? We do have great scientists and we do have great engineers in this country. Right? There's so much that we could do. Right? Technologically, we're actually not a bad country. We can actually mix it with the best of them. It's just, unfortunately, this government and previous governments let our talent leave the country. If you can retain your talent, well, obviously then everything in your country is going to be better because you'll have the top people working in your country, trying to make improvements in your country rather than make improvements in other people's countries. That's the whole point. But we let our youth as well, we let them just, you know, we leave them to rot. And then when they get to a certain age, then where they if some of them have gone through education and then they decide what career they want, they go to college for that, and then after college then they find that there's no jobs here, and then they end up fecking off then away to Australia, New Zealand, America. And this is another thing with the lefty narrative, you know, Irish people go abroad, yeah, but they work. They don't freeload. They're well educated, right? They've got all their degrees and they go and they fucking work and they make their way in the world. And wherever country they're in, they add positively to that country. And I'm not saying that every single Irish person that leaves this country is a saint and doesn't commit crime, because we've seen it. We've seen incidents where people have committed crime. I'm not saying that they don't, right? But Irish people on the whole are educated and they go out there to work, right? They're not going to a country and saying, oh, well, we want benefits now. We want to vote in your elections. We want to do this. We want to build their churches. We want to do this, that, and the other. No, they work, right? They pay their taxes and they keep their mouth fucking shut. And then when they've made enough money and they feel like that the country has improved a bit, which it hasn't in decades, But if the country improved a bit, then most of these people will end up coming back home. But that's the situation we're here. When the government's not doing enough, there's loads of stuff at ground level, at community level, that if it was sorted out, we wouldn't have these issues, right? Education as well. Education in this country now is starting to swing like most Western educations. It's indoctrinated now with all this LGBTQ rubbish and climate change rubbish, right? But that's not real education. When all of these, this is the problem, right? Gen Z keep giving out, that they're useless and they don't want to work and all of this and the hours are too long. But why is it? Why is that the case? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it starts at a very early age. See, instead of being educated and being told no, like we were, they're pandered to every whim that they want, right? Now, when they go through education, they're not actually taught the things that will give them the skills in actual real life to move on. Now, the top pronouns now, and by the way, the climate, the planet is burning. Nonsense. The planet has been born the last fucking 20 fucking years, like, still waiting for it to go up in smoke. Do you know what I mean? And so that's what it is. They're not even being educated anymore. They're not even being helped. So when they get out there in the real world, then they're able to handle it. But you see them, right? You see them in that car, especially the women, right? These Gen Z women. I went to order a coffee. Right, all this crap. Like, you have some working in coffee shops, and after an hour, this is too hard. You're working in a coffee shop. What's hard? I see what they do in coffee shops. Right, I worked in the kitchen as a chef. Right, a high-pressured place of work. Right, you wouldn't even last 5 minutes if you can't last an hour in a coffee fucking shop. I can tell you that. And my boss used to scream at me as if I was a piece of shit, right? And all of the staff, but we respected him because he knew that was the way to get us going. You know what I mean? We weren't pussyfoot and pandered for. No wonder they're all soft and stupid today. No wonder they're all a hive-minded and believe absolute bullshit. So, I'll throw this video up for you. I'll throw you up this video soon because I'm obviously live streaming now. But again, this is just at the being thrown up on X. So canvasser for Thomas Walsh, Fine Gael, admits to driving Ukrainians to polling stations to vote. So this is what's happening. And this is why I'm on here today, and I keep saying, get out there and vote. Let's see, where else have we got? And as I said, they were spotted in Donegal as well, being driven to a polling station in Donegal. There is recordings of officials admitting to have seen allow translators into polling stations today. There is a recording of buses of foreigners arriving to stations all over the country in blocks to vote. No ID checks, X2 ballots given to everyone, free for all. So there you go. So these are the reports that are coming out right now. So that's what we're dealing with. But all you can do really is go out and vote, and what we'll have to do is basically then see the outcome of this, take stock, and then come up with a plan of what the next move is. So John McGurk has suggested that Derek Floyd could be the big story in Ireland South. Someone is reporting there. Well, Derek has put in fairness, Derek has been on the ground. We've shared multiple videos of Derek, but Derek has been on the ground, just like Philip Dwyer has been as well. As I said, even if you don't 100% agree with all of Ireland's forced policies or anything like that, the bottom line is what I can say about Derek is that he has been on the ground and he has, done a lot. So, as far as I'm concerned, anybody that does that and is on the ground deserves a vote. Do you know what I mean? So that's up to yourselves. Do you know what I mean? But that's what I would say. I think what will happen is hopefully the Irish people will see the ones that have been on the ground and are not just there for the publicity and stuff like that, and give it to the right people rather than give it to the people that just turn up because the cameras are there. Right, let's see, what else have you got? Right. Do you know what? It's eerily quiet though. During the referendums, I said there was loads of posts going everywhere. So Mike has put up a tweet. I might be able to read this exactly the way he's written it because I haven't read it yet. But I'll read it anyway. Let's see how we go. So he says, leftists are celebrating the fact that they are literally using foreigners, indeed coercing them into voting for their preferred tyrants. But in case you didn't know, democracy is only a word used by the left to subvert your good nature and trick you into slavery. Fact. So apparently the left side, and I have seen some of them gloating, and I have seen those videos, by the way. So they're actually, the other side, the left, they're doing what they always do, right? They're using their dirty little tactics, right? Just like they tried to use their dirty little tactics in Kulak and run out, right? Same thing. These people don't fight fair, right? The one thing I'll say about this side of the movement, the ones that aren't involved in the bullshit, most of us are fighting fair here. And we still beat them. So you have until 10 p.m. tonight, folks. 10 p.m. tonight, the polls will close. Now, as I said, from that time onwards, that's the time where people have to be vigilant, because that's where I believe if they're going to try rig this election, that's where they'll rig it, right? It won't be just trying to get these people into the voting polls. It'll be, after everybody's gone home and start then checking ballots and then using pencils and pens to change ballot votes or people's votes or add votes. We've seen that type of stuff go on during the American election, which was ignored, but that can't be ignored here. I'm pretty sure there'll be nationalists out there with their phones keeping an eye on these, and cameras keeping an eye on these polling stations. And I'm pretty sure if we see any footage of any rigging going on, it'll be posted. And I'll keep you posted as well. As I said, we probably we'll see what it looks like. So this is a tweet that's just been put up. It's looking like the turnout is very low, 19 or 27% as of 5 p.m. So Irish people need to go out. Voter turnout figures for local and European elections have reached above 10% in most areas, as voting reaches the midway point. Voting centres for the local and European elections open at 7 a.m. today and will close at 10 p.m. A more detailed picture of voter turnout is expected this afternoon, while a small share of eligible voters cast their ballots in the early hours of elections. The average turnout of 11 centres in Dublin City up to lunchtime is 10.7, ranging from 7.2% in Ballymun, Finglas, to 15% in Donaghmede. Voter turnout in Galway City and County have both averaged 10% so far. Areas Clifton, Speedle, Salt Hill and Ballinasloe are slightly higher at 12%, while Orangemore and Castlegar, is that supposed to be Castlegar or Castlebar, are slightly lower at 9%. So it's true, there is a low turnout. It's a low turnout. So what are listen, as I said, I kind of do know what Irish voting habits are like, and a lot of people like to go in the evening when the kids have either settled or gone to bed, and one will stay at home, go voting, and the other one will go because it's only up the road. But there you go. So let's see if there's any more. As I said, it's actually rather eerily quiet, to be honest. Right, let's refresh it. Elections are slightly more cagey than referendums, though, mate. Well, this is but but the thing about it is, I think there's too much momentum. Look, the last couple of march protests, I should say, showed that we still got the momentum. Actually, Philip Dwyer put up a video 28 minutes ago, so I'll throw up a video actually, and let's hear what Philip has to say here. Able to give us some indication of how well or badly it's gone today. So hold on. And Elon, could you fix X, please, man? I know you've been flying rockets up to whatever where you've been flying your rockets, but could you fix your fucking platform, please? Be bleeding timelines full of fucking OnlyFan bitches. Will it leave it out, will you? We're not all obsessed with, these snowflakes. Right. Can we save Ireland? You don't sound too confident. Listen, I've been very confident here today. I think you have to go back and watch the rest of my stream. I've been very, very confident, actually. I've been reminding people of how big the referendum defeat was for the government. So it's on screen there. So here we go.
Right, guys, how are you? Just after leaving the polling station here up in St. Mark's School in Springfield. Yeah, we've done our vote now, we've done all the hard work, just again appealing to people to get out. You have till 10 o'clock this evening. I'm hearing reports from all over the country that the parties, the mainstream parties, are ferrying non-nationals, non-citizens to polling stations to get them to vote for them. And it's what would be called in any normal circumstances a rigged election. So it's really important that Irish citizens, Irish nationalist voters get out there now today and try to counteract that. The government and the powers that be are desperate to hold on to power. So desperate that this is what it's all about, bringing non-nationals into the country and getting them a lot of free stuff and getting their votes off. So please get out there, guys, this evening and vote. Thanks.
There you go. There you're on. See, Philip knows the score as well, right? It's as simple as that. The mainstream parties might be doing that, but if all the Irish people get out and vote, we still outnumber them. This is why when I heard the conversation from two women saying, oh, it's election day, I'm not going to bother, and I interjected and I said, I think you should bother. I think it's very important that you do vote this time around. This is the most important vote that you're ever going to make. And I put my case across to them. And I said, this is what will happen if you don't vote. I says, look, if you want things to change in this country and you're sick of the government, which you clearly are, well, then you've got to get out and exercise your right to vote. Because if it goes the wrong way, you have you'd be in no position to give out. I was blunt. I said, you'd be in no position to complain. So get out and vote. That's why I have it scrolling across the screen. Get out and vote. You have until 10 p.m., folks. Don't waste it. We got Ireland belongs to the Irish in the chat. If voting made a difference, things would have changed a long time ago. Well, with that attitude, things will never change. And by the way, I can actually counter your argument by saying, did you see the recent referendum? So yes, voting can change. See, this is the attitude that I was talking about earlier on, right? And that's why I interjected with those two women when they said that, what you're saying, right? Voting does make a difference. It's just that Irish people, if you go throughout our general elections and local elections throughout the years, you will see that Irish voters haven't really bothered. Numbers have been down, right? The first time that the numbers went up was the referendum, right? It was a record turnout and a record defeat. So your vote can make a difference. Trust me. We beat them once, we can beat them again. You can't have a defeat. Listen, I'm just going to say, I'm not picking on you, but I do hear this defeatist attitude from people all over the country. It needs to stop. It needs to stop, right? This is your country. This is your land. It's worth fighting for, okay? And the thing about it is, you can't have a defeatist attitude, because if you have one, you're going to be defeated. It's as simple as that, right? You've got to believe that we can win, right? And I believe we can win. Right, but I won't stop after today. I'll still be out there with the guys on the street, right? Going to where protests or wherever we're going, or supporting communities, right? That's what I'm going to be doing. I'll still continue after this election, like a lot of people. It's still game on for us as far as we're concerned. Just because this election, everything doesn't stop. We continue, we keep pushing forward. You can win at it if you put your mind to it. And as I said, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying I do hear this defeatist attitude, because I used to have it myself. That's why I'm actually able to speak about, because I used to be that defeatist like you. Well, what would my vote matter? It does matter. It matters very much so. the scum government won't hand over power. Listen, every Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael government has handed over power, right? And they'd have to hand it over because the alternative is, well, we know what will happen, right? And the Irish government won't want that to happen because the wrath of the Irish people. Trust me, these politicians are cowards, right? They'll hand over power because they're cowards, right? Because they don't want the alternative. Because if the alternative happened, they know that they'd be finished. Okay? They will hand over power. They have no choice but to hand over power. It's just, I hope once we get power, that if we do eventually get voted out, that we hand over power. Because we can't go that way. We can't go the way that we accuse everybody else going. We do our job, and if we do it well, we get to keep our jobs. If we don't do it well and we get voted out, well, then it's Nationalist's fault. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? So once they get in the door, Nationalists have to prove themselves now over these next few years. Simple as that. You know, if they want to retain their seats, they'll have to do their job and do it well. James says there, James Bourne says, I've seen Sinn Féin picking up travellers from their house in Bray. No joke, driving them to the polls. I do know down, listen, I do, look, in some parts of the country, right, where they have the polling stations, people do, and it has happened down the countryside. We've seen it on the news, old folks and people getting lifts the poll, but this is different. This is different, you're right, absolutely, it's different. But travellers voting, fair play to them, I'm glad travellers are voting, they should vote. You know, they should vote, in fairness. You know, if this, you know, or look, if this country has an issue with travellers, we always have, you know, there's always been discrimination there, but travellers haven't helped themselves either. But they should be voting. They are Irish people, right? So they should be voting. And I'm glad they're voting because they won't, listen, there's travellers in Coolock, that, right? There's a local candidate running there. And he's even said to me himself that the travellers are going to be voting for him. Do you know what I mean? They're not voting any of this. So the travellers know what's good for them. And they know getting rid of these fuckers, right, that are in already is what's good for them. So I have no problem with travellers voting. Travellers should be voting, in my opinion. James Anton Ward says, what have you got to lose? Get out and vote. Exactly. That's it, man. I have that attitude. I'm glad there's so many people in there agreeing with me. You know what I mean? Traveling gypsies usually vote. I don't know what the percentage of travellers vote in Ireland. But I think there has been an incentive over the last few years to try get them to vote anyway. So if it has had an impact and these people vote Nationalists, listen, as I said, there are people, they just live their lives differently to the rest of us, you know, and, you know, we may not agree and we may not see eye to eye with certain of their traditions and stuff like that, but they are our people. End of story. You know, listen, I don't discriminate against travellers. They're people. That's the way I look at their people. They're just as much valued as far as I'm concerned and deserve to be protected like the rest of us. You know, because we're all in danger. We're all in danger in this country because of our globalist government. Ross C. Walton, hee-haw! Nice one. I like that name. And I see you've got the old Twitter board there. I missed that. He should have called it Twitter X. See that see that little logo that you have there? That's what the logo should have been on Elon's platform. He should have called it Twitter X, kept the board and put the X beside it or something. He's a bleeding idiot anyway. He sunk the bleeding platform. But there you go. Look at that, guys. The little board and then the X in the corner. That's deadly. Yeah, but here's the thing, David. Could you imagine, right? Could you guys imagine, right, if nationalists were seen in their cars by these lefty twats on their camera phones bringing people to polling stations? What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? You know exactly what would happen. That candidate would probably end up getting thrown out on their ear and told that their vote is null and void, basically. Right? But it's all right for all of these idiots, right? The mainstream and all these other parties to be using those dirty tactics. So let's say let's see if there's any more updates. That's what I mean. Someone's at the putting up the list of candidates in their area. I mean, this is local, right? So for some of us, it's been very difficult to vote in the locals because we don't have any nationalist candidates in our area. So this poor bloke here now in his area has Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, People Before Profit, a couple of independents that are probably, not proper independents. Then the Fine Gael, Green Party, Sinn Féin, Labour, and another, it looks like a foreign independent there. Actually, there's two. I think that's that Ukrainian independent that's running there as well. Again, here's another thing. Ukrainians, and the only reason why I kind of like just highlight the Ukrainians is because the Ukrainians are supposed to be going home when this war, so-called war, finishes. So why are they being allowed to interfere in Irish politics and make decisions on behalf of whoever they're making, their own people that are here, I suppose, because they'll be only here to help fellow Ukrainians. But that's the point. If they're supposed to be going home and they do go home, why are they allowed run as candidates? See, this country, listen, there needs to be a whole overhaul of who can vote in this country, and it needs to be made plainly clear who's allowed vote in this country. And I'm telling you now, they shouldn't be allowed vote, right? These are the same fuckers that went home for Christmas and go home for their healthcare because apparently they don't like the healthcare system here. And we know it's a shit show, but it's not that fucking bad, right? But if they can go home to Ukraine, and by the way, I know someone said in there, stop, there's no war. Listen, I'm not that stupid. I know there's no war, right? Okay. And the reason why I know there's no war is because at the very, very start of it, when those first images came of Russian tanks going into Ukraine, right, from the news media themselves, when I posted those videos up on YouTube, right, they were flagged for spreading disinformation, right? So YouTube actually flagged these videos that the mainstream media was posting all over on other platforms, right? I posted those exact videos up on YouTube the way they were, right? All I did was I took out the sound so I didn't get copyrighted, and I added in my own piece of music, right? As I always do, right? And as soon as I threw it up, it was only up 5 minutes and it was taken down for misinformation. So that's when I knew that whole thing in Ukraine, Russia was a load of bollocks, right? The media actually confirmed it for me in the very first day of it. So listen, anytime I see anybody supporting Ukraine anyway, I say, you want to be looking at who you're supporting anyway. Look at the country, right? Look at all the stories and all the reports that were coming out of that country before this so-called conflict happened. Right? It's full of fucking neo-Nazis, for fuck's sake. So I'll have another. So there's videos popping up of people going into polling stations and stuff like that. So I'll throw them up for you. Tracy has also put up a video from Tracy O'Hanlon, who's running for the Irish Freedom Party. Again, I've met Tracy. Tracy is a nice woman, you know, and as I said, you know, I may not like the parties that some of these candidates are running for, but I do like the people. So that's the kind of conundrum that you're in with everybody, really. You know, so just vote who you feel comfortable voting for. I mean, the fact that they're actually admitting on camera that they're driving these migrants to polling stations is just, it wouldn't happen anywhere else. I will say this one thing: people do say that the Irish have gotten a bit soft, you know, and do you know what? I can't disagree with that, because this shit wouldn't happen in any other fucking country, right? It would not happen in other. It wouldn't be tolerated, right? And anyway, I actually said this before me ban when we had that stream where a lot of yous agreed with me. And I actually said we needed people at polling stations to keep an eye on things. And sure, it went on deaf ears anyway. So, you know what I mean? We could have stopped all of this from happening. You know, say, here, what the hell are you doing? Expose these people. Right? But again, you know, I'm just a little person in this whole movement, so nobody listens to what I have to say. But, you know, if people did actually listen to what I had to say, a lot of the shit that's happened recently wouldn't be happening, because I've been on the ball with every single bit of it, and I've predicted stuff before it's even happened, because I seen it happen in other countries and what the atmosphere and the tension was like in those countries. It's the same fucking playbook in every country. The left don't have another playbook. They don't know how to use different tactics. They use the same tactics in every other country. This is why it should be, as it goes and affects every other country, it should have been easier to defeat them. Anyway, let's see. What we got. As I said, rather fucking quiet. Paul Fitzsimons put up positive vibes, slow enough turnout, but that's to be expected. You know who to give your number one vote to. Again, some areas will be slow because, you know, Irish people are very weird, right? You'll have the older generation. They normally kind of vote early in the morning because they're up. Then you've got the mothers and the fathers and the kids, and you know, obviously the school, they're off school because of the obviously the old it's the summer holidays probably as well, isn't it? I forget now these days. But you know, kids are off school, so pardons normally go between around the lunchtime, or if they don't go lunchtime, they'll go uh, after 6, after tea time, really. Then you'll have all the people just coming back from work. Some will vote during lunch, obviously, if their work area is close to their polling station. If not, they'll all wait till they get home. They'll probably vote on the way home as well. So you should, actually, from now until about 8 o'clock, there should be a surge in numbers going to the polls. Now, if the numbers remain steady, then then it looks like it's going to be a low turnout, and I'll be pissed because, I mean, as I said to Irish people, I mean, what else is it going to take for you all to cop on? Do you know what I mean? How many more mistakes do Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael have to make before you guys say, yeah, do you know what? Actually, we've had enough of these mother suckers. Let's give someone else a go. Do you know what I mean? But knowing the Irish voting habits, that's the way it'll normally go. So I won't be worried, as I said, until I obviously see if the polling numbers remain consistent. Then I think, yes, we do need to pay attention to that because it could be close. But if it's a high turnout, then I'm more confident that Nationalists will do well. But it has to be a high turnout. If we don't get a high turnout, then, you know, what can I say? Let me see. James and Ward is in the chat. What happens to all the males of Islamocentric cults? Oh, they run out. I can't really read that out, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Why do you have to have? Why do you have our elections in a working day? People is in work. This has to be a weekend. Now, we've always had them during the week. Now, in fairness, it's nothing new in this country. So, you know, I don't really mind that. You know, there's plenty of time. That's why the polls open up early in the morning and close at 10. There's plenty of time for people to vote, to be quite honest with you. So, you know, I don't have an issue with that personally. Maybe some people would rather on the weekends, but doesn't really bother me. We got 211 people watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, it is the Irish Zone on YouTube. Obviously, we're on 3 platforms at the moment: YouTube, Facebook, and X. So if you want to support the YouTube channel, please do and subscribe. I was hoping while we were on, because it's coming up to the 7 o'clock mark. I was hoping we might get in some maybe poll numbers, but it may be a bit early. Again, I'll just keep refreshing just in case any breaking and news comes up. What's this? I hate when that happens. So Ben's posted the same video of your man admitting that they're carting migrants all over the country. In his big fucking Audi car with the candidate's fucking name on the side of it. I mean, how stupid can you be? you're actually using, so your canvasser for your man, and you're using one of his cars with his name written all over it, going to a poll station with a load of Ukrainians in your car. I mean, you can't get more stupid than that. And you see, that's what we're up against, stupidity. So, you know, intelligence will win the day. I'm not putting your joke up on screen because it's not what I do, right? The bottom line is we're talking about politics here. I mean, mate, you've just made a homophobic joke in the chat and you want me to share it. Like, do you know what I mean? Maybe your views, you know, not. I know everybody has a problem with the LGBTQ plus community, right? And the way they've went on. But I know gay, lesbian, and straight people, right? And not all of them should be tarred with the same brush. There's a few minority that want to upset it for the rest of them, because the majority of gay, lesbian, and bisexual people out there are not on board with all of this ideology. So that's what I don't actually think that's funny. You might think that's funny, but I don't. So again, as I said, I'm just going to be a straight shooter here. I don't support LGBTQ plus, right? But I support the LGB people like we've always done, right? Before all of this nonsense, gay, lesbian, and bisexual people just got on with their lives like the rest of us. Okay? And that's the truth. They did. They just got on with their lives like the rest of us. Right? They fought for the rights that they wanted to fight for, and that was fair enough, and they got them. Right? And then these group of lunatics came along then, and then they perverted the whole lot. So it's a bit unfair, do you know what I mean, to be cracking jokes like that, because not everybody is fucking a lunatic. Yeah, well, great. Listen, mate, you just come in here and you made a joke. I don't want you joking about that stuff here. All right? If you have a problem with that, or anybody else has a problem with that, you can leave. It's no skin off my nose. I'm not engaging in that shit. We're here talking about a local and European elections anyway. Okay? So if you've got anything relevant to say about that topic, then I'll read out your comment. And I'm not being a snowflake. I've got friends who I talk to a lot, right, that have to deal with the bullshit from the TQ plus, right, and the discrimination that they face. Anyway, back to the politics, because that's what we're here for. Peter Casey is just being called a racist. But Peter Casey, you know, again, is one of those candidates that, you know, it's up to yourself really, but, you know, I don't trust him. Leo Varadkar, actually, you know, the way he's been, you know, he ran away like the coward that he is. Well, he's actually been speaking up lately, because in the Netherlands, obviously, European Parliament election was yesterday over there. Politics is never boring. If this exit poll is correct, the centre left has been beaten Wilders and the far right into second place just months after their big win in the general election. So, you know, that's how quick things can change in politics, right? That's how quick things can change. Just like that. Blink of an eye. That's why it's important once nationalists get in, they do their jobs properly. Because they're not going to get a second chance. Because it can change like that. It can flip. What else have we got? Someone's just asked about the exit polls, and that's what I'm waiting on. The exit polls. We should be getting some exit polls now. Hold on, I'll Google that shit. Right, so the last bit of information was put out 2 hours ago. So let's have a look here. So voters in the Czech Republic and Ireland go to the polls. So that's the exit polls for them. The exit polls for the Czechs, and then when it comes to Ireland, Simon Harris casts his vote. And I just brought my ID just so we don't have a Boris moment. I mean, he's embarrassing. Harris said in reference to an incident in May when former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson was turned away at the polling station for not having his ID. He was due to spend the rest of the day canvassing across the country. Roy Cork, he said, as he walked through the parking lot. So nothing on exit polls, but they've got exit polls for other European countries, but they don't have any polls for Ireland yet, which is very worrying because there should be exit polls. So something is a bit amiss here, folks. Right? If they have the exit polls for the others, why haven't they got exit polls for us? Clearly, if the polls are open since 7, so 12 hours, they should have eggs. We should have some sort of idea of what the voting patterns have been like. So some people reporting that they've been asked for ID, which is good. A lot of people just writing up how they voted. But no exit polls. That is weird. All right, I'm going to try it on here. There again, when I put in Irish exit poll for local and European election, it comes up the Dutch one. Interesting. Very interesting. No, but when I mean exit polls, obviously the media will come up with their own, because they'll have people on the ground, you know what I mean? So the media kind of give us the first indicator. I think Rift Media were the first one to give us an indicator how the referendum was actually going to go. You know, so yeah, it'll be interesting if we do get. You are right, though, Tony. It'll be very interesting to see if we get the exit poll as soon as how long after the poll it closes. It closes at 10. Remember, so it'll be interesting to see how long after the 10 o'clock deadline. When that early exit poll, because that's what it'll be called, early exit poll, won't it? And then we'll get a proper idea of the turnout then tomorrow. But yeah, interesting. Let me see who we got. Paul Fitzgerald says they want to put a spin on the facts. There was no one asking those questions outside my polling station in Pierce Street. Yeah, nobody. Yeah, as I said, there was a steady stream going into my polling station. All different age groups and all voting, which was great to see. And there you go, polling station. Next to me is getting real big. There you go, 7 o'clock. Yeah, because you know people work after their dinner. You know, especially the people that work. Yeah, people will vote. People will vote. Conor McGregor voted. Not that I really give a shit whether he did or not. Oh, there you go. He did vote. So I suppose fair play. Lots of reports of voter fraud happening up and down the country today. Don't get angry, get motivated. Nobody will investigate the fraud. The government and media are corrupt, but you can register more voters. You can motivate more people to turn up. Approximately half of the electorate will turn out to vote. The other half doesn't bother. Use this experience next elections. You bring people to polling stations. You run voter registration campaigns. Elections can be sobering, realizing that the system you trust can be manipulated, but they are run by the same people who are destroying the country. What do you expect? Learn from today and remember, polls are open till 10. It's not too late to vote or bring people to vote. So, exactly, spot on. Can you please highlight my next comment? I will highlight your next comment after this one, if that's what you mean, yes. Or if you posted one before that, I will post that one. But yes, absolutely. Irish Lives Matter is, yeah, I know, but the thing about it is that's what, David, that's what the left do in every country. They tar everybody with this far right narrative, and we're all a bunch of Nazis and all of this other fucking stupid nonsense, right? Everybody knows that you're not. We're not either, right? All we want is our country to just be protected. That's it. Yeah, all the European and local elections happen today, Daniel. Like European anyway, happens all over Europe, all the member states. So yeah, just waiting on that other comment. If there's another comment to go up, unless my computer is slow, but we'll see if it comes up. But as I said, you know, and I made clear that they were going to rig this. It was already rigged anyway. Right. So here is the comment. One addition to the medical directive, a power of attorney is critical in the case of illness or dementia. The HSE have left my mother bankrupt, €28,000, and eyeing up 25% of the value of her house. See, that boils my blood, because, you know, in Ireland, as I said, they're a record with looking after the old age pensioners in this country, or the older people that have worked to make this country as good as it is and make it a place that obviously we're happy to live in. It wouldn't happen for the generations before. But the way we treat our old people, the establishment and the nursing, and we've seen all the many reports and all, we've seen how they've been treated, right? They're pushing them out of their homes now, forcing them out of their homes. It's absolutely, listen guys, this is why, you know, it's time for change. You know, it's the only way that we are ever going to be able to be proud of our country, of how it treats its people, and especially the young and the old. We have absolutely neglected in this country. The establishment ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're not, and they never will. BB said, voted for the first time being in Ireland for 18 years to help the Patriots get elected. Well done, BB. Your vote is obviously appreciated, but well done for getting out there and voting. And, you know, as your first time voting, and you've been here in this country for 18 years, fair play. See, obviously you've made your way in this country, and you've worked and you've done whatever, and now you're out there and you're voting, and that's absolutely fantastic. Again, this narrative by the left is we hate all migrants in this country is an absolute lie. We do know that migrants have come over here and worked goddamn hard and paid taxes and have actually adapted to our society and integrated into our society and not made demands. And that's the way it should be. So well done, BB, for voting. Thank you very much. And whoever you voted for, I'm sure will be pretty grateful for your vote So well done. And plus no discretional spending money, none. Listen, guys, we have to do more, for everybody in this country, but especially our old and our young. We've neglected them for far too long. Yeah, they've no shame, and they do have to go. They don't have shame. You don't have shame. And that's what Irish, this is another thing, in Japan, if Japanese politicians do wrong, they're shamed. They're shamed in front of the community and they're punished. Now, unless it's, if it's fraud and it's really, really bad, then obviously that carries different sort of sentences. But if it's only minor things, even on minor things, they're dragged in front of the whole community and they're shamed in front of the whole community and they're given a dressing down. That's what should happen in this country. When Irish politicians put a foot wrong, they should be given a dressing down. Right? At the end of the day, if Ireland was a multinational company, right, and the government was the board, right, but we were all the shareholders, okay, would we let this shit show continue as shareholders? No, of course we wouldn't, because they'd bankrupt the country, wouldn't they? They'd bankrupt the business. And that's what these gobshites are doing. So get out there and vote if you still haven't voted. And if you're listening to me right now, get out there, and you haven't voted, get out there and vote, please. Obviously, if you're not living in Ireland, if there is voting or elections going on in your country, get out and vote. It's the only way you'll make a difference. It breaks my heart after she's working so damn hard, and dad, nothing to even bury her. I mean, it's absolutely disgraceful. I really do feel for you and your family. No family should have to go through that at all. But that's the disgusting nature of the government that we actually have and the systems. Listen, this whole country needs to be stripped back completely. All the foundations, all the old foundations need to be ripped up. We need to build up from the very bottom up. The educational system needs an overhaul. The health system needs a complete overhaul. There's a lot of things in this country that needs a lot of work, and it's going to take a long time. But as I said, there are things that we can fix almost straight away. Lots of other things will take time, but you'll get there if there's a will to do it. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. None of these politicians that have been in power, they've made all these promises, but they've never had the will to deliver anything that they've promised. You're doing it on your own. Her other children abandoned her. I mean, you're probably like me, but this is the way I am. I've had falling outs with my mum and dad over the years, not gonna lie. And we recently went over and paid a visit after being not over there for a few years. It's not that we had a falling out or and the pandemic happened, and I actually went a bit loopy during that, and I wouldn't leave the house. I actually became a bit of a recluse, right? So since this whole movement and all, I've been getting out onto the streets. Like I was having panic attacks before that. I couldn't even get on a bus, right? So again, this is another thing that this movement has done. It's given me the confidence to get out there again and mix with people and stuff, and it made me overcome all of that. But no matter what would happen, right? And we're talking like obviously now, but no matter what would happen, right? If my mum and dad got to a situation where they couldn't look after themselves, well, I believe, and this is what I believe, and I think you're the same as me, I believe as the kids, it's our job to now repay them back for everything they did for us when we were kids. They raised us. Now in their time of need, the kids should step up. The kids should be the ones that look after their parents. If they don't want to go into a home and they want to stay out, it should be the kids. Of course it should. But the attitude of a lot of kids out there, older kids, because they have their own lives or haven't got time and all that, that's bullshit. Your parents put their lives on hold to make sure that you had everything. Clothes on your back, food on the table. I don't think it's much to ask in their later years to you know, be less selfish and help them out. That's what I believe, you know. And if my parents needed me, I'd be there and I'd be helping them. That's what I'm, you know what I mean? They did everything for me when I was growing up, and I'm here today because of them. So yeah, it's the least you could fucking do as a child. So I believe you're the same as me, and it must really annoy you that the others have abandoned, the other children have abandoned your parent, because that's wrong. That's wrong. Daniel is right. Daniel just be on the other channel there, but Daniel's right. Older people everywhere are so neglected. You're absolutely right. We've all had falling out with our parents, but to abandon someone with dementia, old and bankrupt is the lowest of the low. I'd gladly pay for Mam's funeral. I'd never walk away. Exactly. And first, but goes to show what kind of person you are. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we're living in a world where people are cold. You know, people are easily offended. You know, people are so quick to cancel other people. You know, a lot of these people are nasty, though. You know, they don't have a good bone in their body, but you do. So, you know, that will stand. That will stand for you. You know, the bottom line is you done what any child should do for their parent. So there you go. James said he died before I left my mother, as she raised me better. Exactly. You know, families fall out all the time. You know, no family is perfect. You do have your fallings out throughout your lives, but as I said, you know, if my parents needed me, I'm there. Do you know what I mean? Because they did their job and raised me. So the least I could do is for the last few years is to look after them. And yeah, it might be a pain in the arse. Of course it's going to be a pain in the arse. But, you know, at the end of the day, the way I look at it is, if you can give them their last few years and make them comfortable and whatever, then that's what you should do. That's it. That's why we voted to keep mother in the Irish Constitution. Exactly. Right, we'll go for one more little update here. I'll play this bit of audio. Hopefully you can hear it. I'll turn my phone up. So here we go. This is the video I'm going to be posting for you.
This video is to expose Thomas Walsh and Fine Gael for election interference. So I'm out here at Sligo Junction petrol station, which I believe is owned by the same people that own Castledargan Hotel and the properties on site there. There's a couple of estates. Now, these properties and Castledargan Hotel have almost exclusively been housing refugees and migrants. Now, today, as you can see in the videos I've shared, they were seen busing and carting in a fleet of Thomas Walsh branded vehicles, Fine Gael vehicles, migrants in and out to vote from the hotel. Now, this is a problem. This is a problem because, first off, most of Irish people don't realise that migrants and asylum seekers are allowed to vote in the local elections. It says in the Constitution that voting is for citizens. And of course, a couple of thousand migrants in a given area in a local election could easily sway the outcome of an election. And secondly, it's a problem because we don't know if their stay in those hotels is conditional of their vote for Thomas Walsh and Fine Gael. Mm-hmm. Are they buying these votes? Are they leveraging accommodation for asylum seekers over them in order to vote for Thomas Walsh and Fine Gael? So you can see in the video uploaded here that they were confronted, that the man said that it was the hotel that has registered them. So the owners of Castledargan Hotel and the associated properties have a lot of questions to answer. Is registering to vote conditional to stay in the hotel if you're a migrant or a refugee, and is voting for Thomas Walsh conditional? This is absolutely disgraceful what's going on, and people need to realise that Thomas Walsh and Fine Gael are absolute scum, and they're scumbags, and they need to buy these votes, these fake votes, because they know that Irish people aren't going to be voting for them. Irish people aren't going to be voting for them because they're scumbags and they've ruined the country. Please share this.
So, hopefully you've heard all of that. But that's why I said Irish people need to get out and vote. Because as you heard there, imagine in a small town where there's, say, a population of 200, right? And say they have all these migrants that are living in this town, they get them all to the vote. Sure, they allow vote the people that are in that little town, won't they? So that's why it's important for Irish people to get out there and vote. But just to continue on this little conversation that we've been having there, and on top of that, I've worked for 37 years, bought a house alone, paired in college, and still did the right thing with autoimmune disease X3. I mean, listen, all I can say is well done. You're a very brave woman and sound very, to deal with what you've done with. Obviously, a very strong woman too. I'm sorry this has happened. Obviously, words are not going to make anything any better or any easier, but hopefully, if we can change the political landscape of this country, maybe we can save future families from having to deal with what you've dealt with, because it's such a shame in a country like ours that we treat old people in this country and our youth like tow rags, and that's exactly what they do. They treat them like scum, and it's absolutely disgusting. The Arizona just back from voting, great turnout in Coolock area and all, absolutely packed with local people, constant flow of people. It was great, just like mine. It was a steady flow as well in my area as well, mate. So I know there's some areas where it's reporting low turnout, but as I said, Irish people vote different times because some will be in work, some like to get the kids to bed or get their kids their dinner first before they go vote. So they vote different times. I say there'll be big push now for the last 2.5. It's 7:30 now, so 3.5 hours, isn't it? 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So there's still a few hours to go. 2.5 hours actually, isn't it? Would be. So 8, 9, 2.5 hours to go. So there'll be a big push. But I'm going to end now shortly because I don't think there will be any exit polls. But if there is, what I'll do is I'll come on for about 20-15 minutes just to talk about what the exit polls are actually saying, if they're actually saying anything at all. If not, I'll just wait for tomorrow because I will be on tomorrow. Now, I do have a couple of streams and a couple of things going on tomorrow. So I don't know what time I will be on tomorrow, but I should be on just before the results come in. If not, it'll probably be early afternoon anyway, mid-afternoon, because as I said, I've got a stream to do on the other channel first. Then the plan is to do the stream here, and then I'm guesting on another channel. So I've actually a pretty busy Saturday tomorrow, but I will be on tomorrow. And as I said, I will be throwing up those videos. You hear the audio of one of those videos. I will be throwing that video up along with the other video as well. Share them all, as I said. You know, get that information out there. There's a couple of people in the chat also that have YouTube channels that do some great work as well. If you guys want to actually plug your channel in there right now, you are more than welcome to do so. Go ahead. But there are other channels out there that also do some great work as well and throw up some great videos as well. So go and check them out also. As I said, you know, I'm honest and tough, and I found my true people in Dublin online. Great, honest, hard-working people, salt of the earth, and I mean that. You're more than welcome. Listen, you're more than welcome here in this chat anytime. And as I said, I'm also on X. If anybody wants to follow me there, I'm under the Null Zone on X. So if you want to follow me on X, actually, do you know what I'll do? I'll put the account in there now. If you want to follow me there, you know, if you want to share anything with me, sometimes people share me screenshots of articles, maybe something that I've missed. You know, if there's that you would like me to highlight on the channel as well, if there's any particular article that you want to bring people's attention to, you can also let me know. Remember, guys, when I do these live streams are for you guys as well. So you guys can also, you know, give me some input if there's anything you want me to cover. As I said, let me know, because I will. Obviously, if it's what I do on the channel, I will cover it. I have no problem doing that. I want to try and make this channel for everybody that supports this cause. So if there are any things that you would like to highlight, you are more than welcome. There's the X account there now going in. You can send me a message, or you can tag me, whatever. If there's anything that you want me to talk about, I'm willing to do that. We got Claire Quinn in the chat as well. Surely that's not allowed. Well, it's been happening, Claire. It's been happening. Nice to see you. And No One's Flower is in the chat as well. We're just heading off now, guys, but it's nice to see you there. But if you're only arriving in late, go and check out the start of the stream. As I said, that account there, my account there, is in the chat for you there, guys, if you want to go and support me. My voting was the same. Lots of people steady at 4 o'clock, says James Anto Ward. Listen, guys, it's out of our hands now. There's not much more we could do, especially for all of us who have voted. There's not much more we could do now. We just have to hope now that other Irish people get out there and vote. And if we have any news later on this evening with any exit polls, I'll put them up on the community tab. If it's actually worth, you know, coming on and doing a live stream I'll come on for about 20 minutes or so. I won't do another all-nighter anyway. We won't need to, because tomorrow is going to be very busy, because obviously we'll be getting the results in. And then obviously we'll let you know what national candidates have made the cut. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. As I said, get out there and vote if you haven't voted. If you've only joined the stream, go back and watch from the start, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Because as I said, you know, we don't just do live streams. We've been throwing up all those videos, and the reaction to them has been absolutely amazing. So, yeah, let everybody know about this channel as well. Keep the support going, and I do appreciate it. And as I said, all of us that are fighting here do appreciate the international support. It means a lot to us. So thank you very much. So until tomorrow, or maybe later on this evening, I will see you for now. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. And if you do see people out there that haven't voted, just remember to give them a friendly reminder. They have until 10 p.m. tonight to vote. After that, then it's too late. Fingers crossed. Say a little prayer for any of you that are still religious, and pray. Say a little prayer that this goes well tonight. And hopefully by tomorrow, then we have some good news for you guys. Until then, have a good evening. Good night. Look after yourselves and take care. Bye bye.